welcome, friends and fellow gamers. I am Sigrid Trent, captain of Sig Trent Games, and this is Sig Trent Games Chronicles number 3. We're going to start out with company news, and boy, there's a lot of it. Now that I'm doing these kind of more monthly than weekly, it does add up over time, which I kind of like. So, what's been going on in Shotgun Fantasy news? So many things. We got a copper badge on drive-thru. That means I sold more than 50 copies on drive-thru RPG. Sales overall are going pretty well compared to what I expected. So I would say we're kind of right on par with what I was thinking was going to happen. I've sold about 80 copies on all platforms between the digital and the print-on-demand versions. Both are selling quite well. So I'm happy with that. When I reach about 100 copies, I think that is right around the break-even point for the art that I commissioned and bought. And so that'll be nice. And the book kind of pays for itself, at least in terms of the costs that I had to directly outlay in order to make it. Of course, that doesn't include any of the labor that was put into it, but we'll make that back over time. As time goes on, I'm hoping eventually to sell, I don't know, a few hundred copies, let's say, of Shotgun Fantasy when all is said and done. I will keep promoting it. We'll keep working on it. There may be new editions of it over time, which, of course, if you already bought it, you get those for free. And eventually, however, maybe a complete version that has its own included rules and that we can print and sell in stores. But that's something for the future. Right now, we're focused on it as an Everyday Hero supplement, and it's doing well. I'm quite happy. Print on demand is here, as you may have inferred from what I just said. It costs about $38 on drive-thru RPG. It looks great. I got a proof of it in the mail. The colors are beautiful. The cover looks really nice. Oh yeah, that's right. You can't see it behind me because I've got this cool background from this game Satisfactory. But it is looking very nice, I promise, and just really happy with it. And did an incredible bang-up job doing the layout and doing the file preparation for print on demand. So our first proof was basically perfect. We found a couple little nibbling things, but not quite enough to go through the whole process of sending it back out again. Stuff that you probably won't notice. But we just talked about in future things that we might adjust a little bit about the way that we're doing the layout. But I'm really happy with the colors and the art on the cover, and as well as the interior. It's just lovely. It's really nice to read. Big fonts in there, so it's really friendly and easy on the eyes. I'm just really happy with it. So while $38 is maybe a little bit much to pay for a softbound book in color for RPGs, I think it's not an outrageous price, and for a 170-page book, pretty reasonable. So, I mean, if I were doing a real print, I'd probably try to price it closer to $25, $30. But $48 is not too bad. You have to pay shipping as well, just so you know. But I decided to price it. The reason it's $38, which is a little bit of an odd number, is I priced it so that I would get the same amount if people buy a print-on-demand copy that I receive if you buy a PDF copy. That way I can kind of freely promote both, and you don't have to worry about, best trying to support us. Just buy the thing that you like. If you buy the print-on-demand, you get the PDF as a bonus, as part of the package. You want to select that option off of the list. What else is going on? We've got some coverage for Shotgun Fantasy, which is great. I reached out to a number of YouTube channels. I still have a bunch more channels to reach out to. There's kind of a limit on how much contact information I can get per day, and I don't remember to check every day to pull those in. At any rate, I've got a series going on talking about games, which is a cool channel from a gentleman in Mexico, El Jaguar. He's got a really cool accent. And he likes to cover games really in depth, which is pretty cool. He goes chapter by chapter when he's kind of reviewing the book. He's not really offering a lot of opinions about it, but just kind of covering what's in there and describing it, and then offering just kind of his feelings about what he's read in that section. So pretty cool. If you want a really deep coverage of what's going to be in the book before you buy it, then his series on talking about games is a great one. I'm posting those in the Discord, on my social media, so on and so forth. He also reached out to me for a sponsorship, and since he's not really reviewing the product critically necessarily, more just sort of covering it for people's interests, I think it was reasonable to do that. So it was my first YouTube sponsorship. So I thought, it's pretty reasonable, and if I get 4 copies sold from it, then it makes back the money I paid in the advertising. So just experimenting around with that. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to do more sponsorships or anything like that immediately, but we'll see kind of what comes from that and if it works out well for me. So he was the first to ask, so he was the first to get one. I did baby pictures with my proof you might have seen on my Facebook. I'm just very proud. It was funny. I went into our local game store, which just opened a couple of weeks ago, which is awesome having a local FLGS in my neighborhood. something I haven't had for the last 3 years. So I'm super excited to support that store. And I've just been going by there, talking to the owner and stuff. And when I went in, I was bringing my book kind of for a little show and tell, because, you know, you want to show off what you're proud of. And I was like, that's a little weird, going to the game shop owner and saying, look at the book I made. I was like, oh, you know what else I could do? I could put it on the shelf and take a picture of it while I'm in there to kind of show what it would look like in its natural habitat. So I did that, and I showed it to Anne, and she was like, oh my gosh, it's like your baby pictures or something. I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it's right. So we'll put that on Facebook. Anyway, I'm embarrassed and proud at the same time. What else is going on? We are working on a possible implementation for Foundry VTT for Shotgun Fantasy. This is an experiment. I don't know if it'll be successful or not. Anne's working on it. She's making good progress. But it is kind of a challenging situation when you're a third party trying to do content for a VTT where somebody else owns the main game system, because we can't edit the main game system, but yet, you know, in pen and paper, I'm going to have things that change the way you build characters and stuff. So I don't even know if it's possible. But it's something we're working on. It's also an effort to try and digitize the content that we have so that it's database accessible, which means then we can export it out to different VTTs or just different formats or making a website, whatever you want to do. It's just really useful to be able to digitize the game content that you have. So we're working on that project. I'll keep you abreast as things go on, but right now we have no dates, no deadlines, no guarantees of anything. I just wanted to say it's something cool we're working on. I've had a great reception so far for Shotgun Fantasy. A lot of fans have gotten back to me, let me know that they think the book is great. That's really great. The layout has received a lot of praise from people who I've sent copies to. So I'm just really happy with that so far. Nobody seems to have any complaints or anything they don't like about it. I'm sure somebody will in time. The more popular you get, the more that's likely to happen. And that's okay too. I'm actually kind of eager for the first critical response to the book so that I have some things to work on and improve in the future. But I am very happy that so far I haven't gotten them. So yeah, I'm happy either way, I guess is what I'm saying. We got a review on Drive-Thru and on Sidekick, so that's great. Some kind fan has given us a rating and a review. I would know their name if I had been looking at the Drive-Thru RPG. But anyway, thank you very much for those. It really helps a lot with the people who might stumble on the project on the front page of Drive-Thru RPG or by seeing an advertisement that we have, clicking through, and if they see there's a good rating on the product, that gives them a little bit more confidence to go ahead and pay for it. So I really appreciate those. They help a lot. If you haven't done one and you feel inclined, you don't have to be obligated. They're really appreciated. You don't have to write a whole review. Just give it a star rating, say you think it's cool, and that's great. And, you know, give it what you honestly think. Of course, 5-star reviews are the best, but I think 4 stars perfectly reasonable. You know, if you hate it, you hate it. That's fine. Maybe don't tell everybody that, I guess. Unless you really think I need to learn a lesson of some kind, then I suppose you could. Anyway, I'm rambling about that. If you rate the book, I'll be very happy. Thanks so much. YouTubers seem to like it so far from the people I've sent. Now, I've gotten back content from at least 4 different YouTubers. One is already up talking about games, already producing stuff that you can see. I just finished earlier today an interview with Dead Unicorn, which is another cool channel that covers RPGs, a lot of Legend of the Five Rings, which is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. So that was really cool, kind of crossover that they were doing some Everyday Hero stuff, and he was very happy to do an interview with me to promote the product. So that's really cool. And it was also just a fun interview. We talked about gaming. We didn't just talk about the Shotgun Fantasy, although certainly discussed that quite a bit. So really like that guy and really enjoyed that interview. He said it'd be about 2 weeks before that shows up on YouTube. And of course, I will let you know when that happens. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff going on with Shotgun Fantasy. I'm sure there will be a lot more to come. We won't stop talking about it for a long time now. What else is going on? Hero Sheets. We updated Hero Sheets to include Shotgun Fantasy character sheets. So these are a full set of character sheets, not sheeps. One for each of the archetypes that is available inside of Shotgun Fantasy to make characters with. Front page with a fantasy skill set on it specifically, and it's still got blank skills in case you go on isekai journeys and pick up skills from a technological world or a science fiction world or whatever that happens to be. We've got a spell page, both one for clerics, one for wizards, customized for the way the spellcasting works on that class, but you could use them as general spellcasting sheets as well. And we've got both the print version and the form fillable version, and there's a whole different style to it. It's got little leaves. It's kind of foresty and natural looking instead of the hard kind of technology version for the modern sheets. And it's got a little bit different treatment for the weapons and some other things like that that I think are just little refinements and improvements or are customized for the more common fantasy weapons, since you don't have things like gun ammunition so much and things like that. There's still spots for those on the sheets, but it's just a little less important part of it. Speaking of which, we made some improvements to all the sheets. For instance, the ammunition section for the weapon blocks now have kind of like a maximum ammunition and then how much you have. So if you want to keep track of how much ammo is in the clip, you can do that more easily on the character sheets. Something I found over time playing them, I kind of wished I had. So since I make those character sheets, we went ahead and did that. Anyway, the full package with the modern ones and the Shotgun Fantasy ones, still only $5. You can get them Drive-Thru RPG. You can get them on our website, which I'm going to talk more about in a minute. And you can get them over on Sidekick. They were actually really popular on Sidekick. I was a little surprised. That's where I've sold the most character sheets packages for hero sheets. I would say for Shotgun Fantasy, I've sold the most on Drive-Thru, but that's where I advertise it the most as well. All right. The secret project that I worked on for a long time last year, for 4 or 5 months, I forget exactly, is revealed. It is called Trade Secrets. It is a merchant-themed book for the Tales of the Valiant RPG, which is a 5e-based RPG from Kobold Press, my good friends at Kobold Press. So I was really happy to be working with them again. Sort of my first printed production work was with Kobold Press in partnership. We did a series called the Advanced Feats series, and I also did articles for Kobold Magazine back then. I forget exactly. Kobold Quarterly, I think it was called. Anyway, have a long relationship with that company, so it was really cool to come back and do some work for them. The merchant book's pretty big. I did about 40,000 words for that guy. And another writer, J.D. I've forgotten his name, Walker, thank you very much, darling, did the other half of the book, so it's about 50-50. And it's just kind of a cool book that dives into all kinds of storytelling elements that you can do when it comes to merchant adventures, and also like lots of lists of trade goods, so that like if you capture a pirate galleon, how much is the ore in the cargo hold worth? And then tables for like when you go to sell to a merchant, like is that in demand right now or is it low demand? What kind of price are you going to get? All kinds of stuff like that. And then if you want to become like a merchant adventurer and travel around the country doing good deeds and carrying goods and buying and selling them, you could do that as well. Or you could open up your own adventuring gear shop, and it's got all kinds of detailed information about that, lots of character options, new weapons, new weapon actions, weapon materials, all kinds of great stuff for Tales of the Valiant, which is a cool 5e system, and very compatible with Shotgun Fantasy and with Everyday Heroes if you want to do that. So good stuff for folks. It is expected to come out maybe sometime in October 2026. That is a tentative date that they put out. I did an interview at KoboldCon last week about this, and so now I can talk about it in the open, which is great, because it was a really cool project, and I put a lot of work into it, and so I hope it's going to be awesome. Now, I haven't seen the full edited manuscript yet, or proofs of the book or anything like that. I don't know if they're going to share those with me or not before publication. I'm not sure. But I will get a copy of the book when it's all done, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's something you can check out if you want to support Kobold Press, which is a great company, and I don't know, get more stuff written by yours truly. All right, website update. We are trying to streamline and improve sigtrent.com. When we launched Shotgun Fantasy, I included links to sigtrent.com, but the site's performance was kind of bad, and people were able to buy the books. I think it was working, but for me at least, especially editing the site, working on it was very slow. So Anne decided that it was time to fix that. Plus, she's got some stuff to sell, used games and stuff that we want to put out there. So we redid the store on the site so that it is technically two different sites, the store and the main site, but you get to the store through sigtrent.com just like you always did. If you ordered products in the past, you can still get the downloads for those, and you can, of course, go there and order the same stuff that was there before. So you're probably not going to see a lot of a change, but on the back end, it's working a lot better now. It's faster, more reliable, so I'm a little more confident to send people there to buy things. And it is the place where if you buy my books, I get the very best percentages, because I only have to pay for the payment transaction and a small fee for the store software that it runs on, which is a little better than the generally around 30%, 25% that I pay on the other sites. So Still, I would say, on those sites, I'm getting a good deal. I don't feel bad at all with giving them the cut that they get. It seems pretty fair to me, considering they bring new users to the site, they provide good technology, all this stuff. It's fine, but it is nice having my own site where I can kind of maximize the value a little bit, and where I just kind of control all the pieces and elements. Of course, I don't have print on demand on sigtrent.com, so if you want a print version of any of our stuff, although the only one you can get is Shotgun Fantasy, you're going to have to go to Drive-Thru RPG for that. And they do an excellent job, so I wouldn't really want to try and compete with that, at least not yet. All right. Next up, Night Magics. Boy, I got a lot of things to talk about. This is what I've been working on in the background. And finally, I am starting to, in earnest, get in there and really dig on it and get a lot of writing done. It's kind of been on the back burner forever and ever and keeps getting kind of shunted aside for other projects. But I got the time right now as I'm deciding the next thing that we're going to publish to get that done. I'm pretty sure it'll still be published through LPJ. If not, we'll work something out and we'll publish it ourselves. We'll see. But it's pretty cool. It's got 3 classes in it currently. One is kind of like an atomic sorcerer, and I'm also trying to make it so that it could be a generic sorcerer class, but it's using the atomic sorcerer path. So I like to make things modular and flexible so that I can expand them in the future. So this is kind of my take on what a sorcerer is like, and also an atomic energy themed sorcerer in a modern times, right? So this is like your Dr. Manhattan kind of a character, right? As their eyes can glow when they cast spells. They become more and a little bit less and less flesh over time, and a little bit more and more infused with atomic energy. So kind of a cool character, mostly a combat caster kind of a character. Then I've got a Street Duelist. I think currently they're being called Blade Bangers, which is kind of an old in-joke for me, but it does sound like kind of a cool name for them. Basically, these are guys who fight for money. They're kind of like gladiators, except that it's more of an underground culture, like street racing. And they fight using swords and magic, or melee combat and magic, for the entertainment of crowd and for the sport of it and for the glory, etc. So they're kind of cool, gishy, half melee fighters, half spellcasters. I mean, I guess they could use ranged weapons as well. It's just you wouldn't for the sport combat. You might do that in your off time, though. And then a kind of like urban street witch character, which is like a more homegrown magic character that learns magic from other people in their circle of friends, or pass it down word of mouth kind of a thing. So it's a little bit more personalized magic, a little less formal, like a wizard's magic. And they're a skill mix spellcaster class, so kind of like half detective, half spellcaster in a sense, and that they will have a lot of skills available to them and a lot of picks for skills, and then a wide access to spells, but not as deep or serious as spellcasting as a full caster. And so to support the Street Duelist and the Urban Witch, I've got a Demi-caster archetype to go along with the Spellcaster archetype in Shotgun Fantasy. And this is like the archetype that you'd build Paladins and Rangers and any Bards, any of these kind of like half casters. I guess Bards are full casters these days. Anyway, you would build your kind of half casters on this archetype. It gets less spell points, a little bit lower ranked spells than a full spellcaster, but in return you have better defensive stat lines, and you're going to have access to classes that specialize in things other than just casting spells, which is what's intended for the spellcaster classes. Anyway, I got that, made good progress. Almost all the spells are done. I got about, I think there's about 60, 70 spells in there. But, and just like in Shotgun Fantasy, they all have enhancements and things, so they have variability. They're a little less universally themed than the ones in Shotgun Fantasy, so they have slightly less enhancements. They're a little more specific ideas that make you think about urban nightlife culture. But we have a few from Shotgun Fantasy I imported because they're just standards that are kind of needed to fill out a roster, and I don't want to recreate the same spell twice. That would be kind of pointless with different names, a little bit confusing. So it does have some material from Shotgun Fantasy in this book as well. And it was always intended to. But I got most of the spells done. It's just as I make these classes, they inevitably have a certain amount of like, oh, this class really should have a spell like this, but I didn't put one in the list. Like as I was doing the Atomic Sorcerer, they should probably have a Disintegration Ray. I didn't have Disintegrate in Shotgun Fantasy, so I made a Disintegrate spell for them. So there'll be a little bit of that, and then once that's done, then I just got like backgrounds and professions to do and a little bit more, and then that book will be wrapped up. So I think I'll finish writing maybe late this week, possibly early next week, something like that. That would be really cool, although sometimes there's more to these books than I remember. And I'll be like, oh, I should really have this material in there. Once I get everything written, I'll go through it and I'll see if there's any holes and things that I need to fill out, or just want to pad it out with a little more material. It's already pretty good. 3 classes, a whole bunch of spells. Is a pretty good supplement. I think this is a little bit smaller than Shotgun Fantasy, but it will have all the rules for spellcasting. So if Shotgun Fantasy just doesn't interest you and you want something that is specifically urban fantasy themed and has magic spells in it, then Night Magics will be a good pick. I don't know exactly when it'll come out. Depends. I have to talk to LPJ. But I want to finish the book first, and then we'll figure out about printing and releasing it. Finally, let's talk about Nomad Ann. She is streaming No Man's Sky and also a little bit of Phasmophobia over on her channel on the weekends. So definitely check that out. She's been doing a little bit of live coding from time to time as she works on the implementation for digitizing our games and turning them into VTT material. So that's pretty cool if you want to check that out. What else is going on? Playing games. Oh my God. So it has been a month, so I played a lot of games since then. Continuing in my Traveler Adventures, I started a new RPG, which is really interesting. It is a Transformers adventure, so Transformers Adventure Campaign. This is a live play that we're doing here locally in Ocean Shores, and it's using as rules old school essentials, which is basically like first edition D&D stuff with a little bit of modifications. So we're using D&D rules to play a Transformers game, which is wild, but it is actually really super fun to kind of look at D&D classes and imagine, okay, if I turn this class into a Transformer, how does that work? What does spellcasting become? What are retainers like, and how do things work? I'm playing a character who's a knight, and I am the knight rider, so I turn from a robot into a motorcycle with a robot riding the motorcycle. The robot riding the motorcycle can't really get off the motorcycle. It's like a centaur form almost, right? So I can ride around and lance at people. And then as a robot, I've got a sword and shield, and I'm like kind of a Teutonic knight, but a transformer fighting for truth, justice, and goodness. I'm not actually an Autobot, but I'm kind of like aligned with the Autobots. Anyway, very cool, quite a lot of fun, and that's just been really neat. Also really cool, the Game Master has done a great job taking things like a Rust Monster and turning that into a Transformers creature, even though it's using the D&D stats for a Rust Monster. It's brilliant. A lot of fun, really cool, and I'm enjoying that quite a bit. I got to try out Slay the Spire for the first time. Fun game. Try not to play too much. It can be pretty addictive. But thumbs up. I've also got Slay the Spire 2, but I thought I should play the original first, and I did get to the top of the tower at least once. I think I want to get to the top of the tower at least once with each character, and then I'll probably shelve that one and go to Slay the Spire 2, since it's kind of the same thing but more, and get into that. But I felt like I wanted to play the original first. I like games like that. I tend not to get super addicted to them and play them all the time, but it's kind of fun to pick them up every once in a while and just do a couple runs. So I like roguelikes. It's not my main genre, but they're enjoyable, and that's a very well-constructed game. Next up is Stellaris. I've been playing a ton of Stellaris. I bought the last of the DLCs that I didn't have. It was like 5 different DLCs, kind of as a reward for myself for finishing all the Shotgun Fantasy stuff. And yeah, really cool. And so I've been getting back into that, trying some of the new options, and I'm really having a great time with that. I get incredible mileage out of Stellaris. I also got to play Stellaris with my other gaming group, the group that plays Traveler, for the first time, and playing multiplayer. So I'd never done that before. It's pretty fun. Stellaris, brilliant, wonderful game. Now the game I've spent the second most time on Steam. There are, of course, games I've played that are not on Steam before, but yeah, it's just after an MMO. Dungeons & Dragons Online is number one with like 2,500 hours or something crazy like that, because it's an MMO that's been around for 20 years. So played a ton of that, no doubt. But second place is now Stellaris, which passed up Civilization as my second most played game. All right. What else is going on? I don't know. I think that's enough. My normal life has just been kind of normal. Not a lot of crazy news going on or anything like that. Fortunately, no health emergencies or any friends passing away or anything of that nature lately. So that's good. This month has not been too sad. I've just been really focused on getting stuff put together and, I don't know, playing games and having fun, and making games and having fun. All right, so I hope the rest of April goes great for you, and you have a lovely time, and we will see you next month or earlier, as the case may be.